Gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Company of Heroes 2. Here we are once again in Kolodny. It seems to be the only map that we're ever on for some reason. But that's okay, because Kolodny is, I think, most people's favourite map.
I don't even get Kolodny that much for some reason. You like veto half the maps and your opponent vetoes the other half of the maps and you like default to a map. And that tends to be Kolodny for these guys at least.
Yeah, fair enough. So we do have Vindicarex as our US forces on the west.
And he's going to be playing up against Cyanara. That's our OberKommando West. He's going to be over here on our eastern flank. You like how I didn't say up or down that time? Yeah.
I'm trying to think, when was the last time we actually casted Soviets versus Wehrmacht? Like, I'm thinking...
It's been a long time.
Wow, with triple rear echelon spam.
What? That's new. We've seen that once before.
Meta me on this Archon Hawk.
Can't meta you on 3 echelon because I just don't think it's in any way a good idea. Quick lock-in as well, doctrine-wise. Some airborne coming out here.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe if this was a couple of patches where volley fire was like
good.
really broken, but now it's not, and yeah, I just don't really see how the rear echelon's going to work. He can just play the capping game of just avoid any and all engagement and just mass cap, and then just sort of have the map.
That's going to be the issue, is you're going to lose every engagement. I mean, you literally can't do anything but cap. And I mean, you get more units out a little bit faster, but it's going to stop paying off once you're 5 minutes into the game and you actually have to start fighting the squads. I mean, even against Volsks, in the rear echelon, just going to get completely shredded. Yeah. See if it does pay off here for Vindicarex. He obviously has an idea in mind, something to go for. At least rear echelon... I mean, I tend to lose my rear echelon squad every time, so at least this way, he's going to have at least one left when the tanks come onto the field. Yeah,
so I have to see how he plays it. It wouldn't be the first time that we have seen very, very wacky builds actually pay off, and already we can see he does have a fair bit of map, and we'll have to see if he can hold the map or if it'll just get decapped very quickly once the engagements start coming his way. He's saving up a fair bit of manpower as well. I'm not sure what he's going. Maybe for like a really, really fast M20, but the lieutenant is actually going to be 50 fuel, so he's going to have a lot of float left over.
Yeah, definitely want another squad before starting to save up for that. Even if you want to go straight into a call-in, you still have to build the lieutenant, so... Rear echelon, of course, just retreating instantly from these strums. Don't want an engagement, but that was really nice play from Vindicarex because he didn't actually drop a model. He can't really afford to lose manpower in these engagements. So if he can just avoid the fights and just keep moving the rear echelon around, that'd be the best way of doing it.
Unless the fights involve riflemen, in which case they can definitely go for the engagement here. But the garrison does give some pretty good protection. Riflemen behind heavy cover should be fine though at that distance. Doom Pioneer's looking for a nice flank and will find one here. Rear echelon holding the line, volley fire against the heavy cover though. Not sure how effective it will be, but they are very close. Doom Pioneers, that's a nice flank. Volk's gonna have to retreat. They're very, very low.
Oh, wow.
It's 3 against 1 because that's the only combat troops that Vindicarex actually has.
Yeah, dropped 3 models, probably another one on retreat. Doesn't lose the rifleman squad, thankfully, because that is, yeah, as you were saying, his only combat unit. And now he's going to start to give up a bit of map control. Seems to just really be focusing on these garrisons with the rear echelon. Hasn't still dropped a model yet. We'll see if he goes for another volley flower. But again, there's cover nearby. There's heavy cover all around that garrison. It's just really not that effective.
Yeah, and retreating through that many squads is really brutal. But the lieutenant is coming out now and still a lot of float. So he might go for like the M20 and immediately a 50 cal. Probably will lose the echelon. No, maybe not actually.
Maybe not. If he gets a nice... It was a really nice movement there from Vindicarex walking that way. If he had to retreat through the Strumpires, would have lost the squad. I mean, Strumpires, they absolutely shred when they're close to a garrison. It's ridiculous. And yeah, it is going to be the M20. Good call there. Machine coming out here for Vindicarex. Nice and fast. So that'll give him a little bit more in terms of anti-infantry firepower.
Yeah, but having the rear echelon, it's interesting what he can do with them because you don't really need the repairs because you have the vehicle crews.
I mean, like, maybe one rear echelon squad. I mean, plus the rear echelon, they just won't be able to keep up with the M20. The M20 wants to be nice and mobile. The rear echelon can't exactly hitch a ride in the back. So.
I'm thinking what he might do is go for bazooka spam on the rear echelon. Yeah. Because generally, it's better giving bazookas to echelon rather than riflemen because then you're not sacrificing as much of your anti-infantry DPS. But I kind of like having on Rifleman because then you have it with the AT grenades and the smokes, so you can combo it up pretty well.
And it's not like bazookas are bad against infantry.
Yeah, that's true. They have a really high chance to hit, which is kind of silly considering their, you know, vehicle deterrents or vehicle killers or whatever you want to call it.
And with that being said, I mean, Cyanara, he hasn't quite worked out that there are 3 rear echelon squads yet. He's still moving his units around nice and together. Strumpires with the Volts, which is generally what you like to do against riflemen, but against the rear echelon, he's giving up a little bit in terms of capping power. Does have about half the map at the moment, but it's taken him a while.
Yeah, I think he's going to go straight for paratroopers and really use that munitions on the 30 cals. M20 going to be very powerful here. Cyanara really should retreat that one. M20s do have some pretty good chase potential on retreat.
And the lieutenant's actually moving to a retreat path as well. I don't think they'll quite get it, but might at least drop another couple of models.
Yeah, Lieutenant is also pretty good. Very inconsistent. I say Lieutenant,
yeah,
you say Lieutenant.
I try to remember to say Lieutenant, and nice work there, Cyanara. Saves up his munitions and does get a Shrek onto that Vol squad. I try and say Lieutenant, but you have to remember to, because I was ingrained with the Lieutenant mantra from school.
Blake forgot what country he was born in.
Yeah, well, teachers teach you Lieutenant. They don't teach you Lieutenant. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, the M20 is going to have a lot of trouble. Even if it's only one Vol squad with the Shrek, you all of a sudden have to be very, very careful where you're moving around.
The thing is as well, the M20 is actually pretty good against the Volk Shreks. Because of how fast the M20 is, you can generally just push the Shrek and prevent it from actually firing. Especially if you like have a infantry squad nearby and you... I hear Sturmpine is firing at something. I'm going to swap over to find where they are. Sturmpine on the garrison, that's where they are, of course. It's always a very, you know, scary sound, because generally the MP44 sound is followed by lots of death. In this case, it may be this Lieutenant.
Lieutenant death. Oh, that's a nasty retreat path. Straight through the Strumpires and through the MG as well in the garrison. I'm not really sure where the arc is, but it's not going to matter. The Strumpires are going to wipe that one nice and easily.
No, it was actually one of the MG crew.
Oh, was it at the end? Okay.
You can tell because where the XP sign goes, it'll always goes on the killer. And so, interesting build from Cyanara. He's gone 4 Vox and double MG. I generally don't think you need... Oh, another rear echelon wipe. See, it's hard to keep them alive.
Yeah, they're super squishy. And yeah, definitely is an interesting build. A lot of infantry there. Obviously wants the map control, but double MG is, yeah, definitely interesting. It will give him control over these big garrisons there. The one up the top, as well as having the church control. It's going to be nice, but you need something to make sure the M20 doesn't just shred you.
Yeah, and that
M20's not super good against garrisons, but the Shrek's there for support.
It's good because you can get up really close.
Yeah.
And the closer you get, the more damage you take. And once you get the armored skirts, you generally don't take any damage from small arms fire. So it's actually a pretty good way of dealing with the garrisons, because you don't get flamers unless you're, of course, elite rifleman, which pretty much everyone is elite rifleman these days, because it's, you know, undoubtedly the best American commander, not really having any downsides at all. 50 cal, very, very powerful MG, able to suppress and probably pin these Volks down, but not exactly in time.
Decap does come out.
Yeah, the 50 cal, I think the one thing that sets them apart from other MGs is they have a lot of damage. Because the MG42s will suppress pretty well, but the 50 cal will actually drop members very, very quickly. Which is pretty good.
Yeah, unless you're that MG34's weapon crew.
Yeah.
Rifles are good. Rifles are very, very good. So looking around here, Rakuten Bertha out for Cyanara. That's going to be, again, nice against the M20. M20's got to be super careful against that. Does find one of the MGs. They're going to force the retreat there. Let's get a little bit of map pressure back. And man, that Volks with the Shrek, he's having a fun time. There's actually 2 of them on the field now.
One thing to note is when you get a Shrek on your Volks, they get veterancy very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Because, we'll have a look at it next time, when you do hit a vehicle, you get about half a bar of vet, at least, you know, like early levels of veterancy, which then helps out against their infantry firepower quite significantly. 50 cal got hit by a grenade, but that close it will pin it rather quickly here. So I'm interested to see how Cyanara goes with this, because he has a lot of feel, but hasn't actually gone for his tier 2 or his tier 3.
I'm not really sure what he's going for.
I'm thinking he may go for a Jagdpanzer 4.
Okay.
But I don't really know why, to be honest. Against the M20, it's just too slow and immobile. I mean, generally you want to have the Obersoldaten, and then the Panther is generally the best tank to go. Jagdpanzers, it's good against, like, Shermans, for example, if you don't have the tier 4, but against an M20 or a Stuart, it's just too slow. So I'm definitely, yeah, curious about his build. As for Vindicarex, calling in the airborne, very, very powerful, getting the M19-19s currently will give him the much needed infantry firepower.
What is interesting is he has decided to go for that captain, not deciding to take straight into the major, which is a bit of a fuel loss there. We'll have to see what he decides to get there, considering he already has AT guns.
Yeah, that's exactly, because he's the airborne company, in which case he can power drop the AT guns. So the captains, they're actually a very cost-efficient squad looking at the manpower. It's only 200 manpower for, you know, a double bazooka and a Thompson squad. But it is 80 fuel, so it will delay your tier 4. Your howitzer carriers, your Shermans, your Jacksons, whatever sort of tier 4 tank you want will be delayed as a result. Airborne here, very, very powerful, ripping through the Volksgrens, and we'll look for the M20. Won't quite take out in one shot, may even get taken out here.
Good job with the 30 cals from the airborne. They really don't want to lose that squad, though. Getting taken very, very low. Does get cut off by 2 Vol squads, though. That is 1 dead airborne. Unless he's completely immune to small arms, he is not. He does fall in the end, and that's the first airborne squad built and dropped. Vindicarex throws out the lol.
Not sure why he stuck around. He was there for a very, very long time. He ate a nade. Yeah, and he didn't retreat for a little bit late. Raketenwerfer going to be there for that extra anti-tank damage. A lot of AT here. You got 2 Shreks on the Volks and a Raketenwerfer. Captain as well dropping low. These nades
lose that as well.
Have been pretty effective here from Cyanara.
Definitely have. They've really been on point. And he doesn't really give them away either. He has his Volks in close. He doesn't try and run them in and get to nade range and then throw the nade. He's really in the position where he can already throw it. And Riflemen are going to be suppressed there by the Panzer headquarters. Yeah,
so getting these tier 4 a little bit late, but never too late at least to have that very, very nice M20. Got to be careful. The Panzer headquarters can take it very quickly if it does start to get fired at. Obersoldaten should be coming out soon, or maybe even the Panzer II. Panzer IIs are fantastic against the airborne because they just have no AT by any means.
Panzer II would definitely be a nice choice at this point. I mean, it's only really the captain on the field. There is no M1s, as far as I'm aware, that have been dropped in on the side of Vindicarex. So if you can get it out fairly quickly, M20, of course, has put a couple of mines around the field. That's the first one that I've seen, but I'm sure there's probably a couple of other ones.
No, I don't think so. I've been watching it.
He's probably put it all into the 30 cals for the airborne, and then lost the airborne squad.
Yeah,
so it's 120 munitions investment. So
not cheap.
It's kind of a big deal.
Also, the Panzer II is great against the M20, even with the vehicle crew. Like, they die very quickly. The Panzer IIs have a lot of burst damage, so I think the Panzer II is going to be a good choice. But I have a bit of a scared foresight here for this AT mine. It's in a really good spot that you wouldn't exactly expect it to be. Like, you know, you always walk your minesweeper down here. You always walk your minesweeper in that choke point around here. But is that another one? That's a shoe mine. That's a shoe mine, yeah. That's for Cyanara's here. Rear Echelon on the flank, but Rear Echelon can't actually drop any models because they're not very good, and the MG will set them up. So Vindicarex is in a hard spot right now, only really having the M20.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Runs into another Vol squad. We'll see if he can get the push down. He's actually going for it. Just going to gun them down through sheer force of will, if nothing else. Major has hit the field now, so he's going to be running around. We'll have to see if we can set up a retreat point without ambulances on the field as well for Vindicarex. See what he decides to do with that Major on the field.
But there's just not a lot of fuel here because of that captain. But at least with the fuel point connected and also the fuel cache, shouldn't be too much of a delay to get that back up. Thompsons actually are going to be the upgrade of choice for Vindicarex. Will give him some very, very good close range firepower, able to get the support weapons down quickly. Against infantry, generally the M19s are better unless you want to have anti-support weapons. But Thompsons, they can get wipes if you get good flanks.
Kind of that. Just got to be really, really careful of the nades coming out from those Volksgrens.
Yeah, that's
pretty hard to deal with thus far.
That's the other problem with Thompsons is it means you have to get in close.
Yeah.
And then when you get in close, it can be a problem. That's sort of the thing with Volks is they're very, very powerful long-range troops, but they're also pretty effective against assault infantry because of how potent their grenades are. And their grenades are no longer expensive because they no longer have the munitions handicap that they used to have originally. Nice flank here though with the Thompsons. Will force away the MG, but at the same time, Sturm Pioneers are going to have enough DPS to drop that 50 cal incredibly quickly.
Oh, it's running. It's not retreating. That's right, because I think he's out of the drop-off range from those Thompsons, but now he's within it, and that's going to be really, really dangerous because he's just going to drop so fast. Bit of a mistake there, and pretty much the first one we've seen from Cyanara.
Oh, nice work from Vindicare. Yeah, he was relying on the other 50 cal that he captured, setting up in time.
To get another one.
MG34 in the church. Once again, hit the shoe mine in front of the Raketenwerfer. Nice work from Cyanara, getting the M20 down. The M20 is the only really thing that Vindicarex actually had going for him. Was that M20, and now a Jackson, but
on the field.
Against what? Against Volksrex? The Jackson, I think, is a very poor choice. I would rather see, I think, M8 howitzer carriage backed up by an AT gun. I think that's what I want to see.
That's what you need at this point. I mean, considering he must know how far Cyanara is in fuel. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where he is. We can just flick over. Oh, that being said, though, not another airborne squad, Vindicare. You don't want to lose that one. I don't know if there's a predictive nade or not. Gets taken very, very low, though. This is the world's biggest flank here. 3 Vol squads. Doesn't have Shreks though. Airborne squad will survive this one, I think.
Volks,
just.
the Shrek almost wiped that squad. Volk's not the best squad wipers. Looking at...
Cyanara's on 130 fuel, so he's got a nice float there. Has a bit of manpower in the bank as well, because, I mean, what does he need? He has fantastic unit preservation. 4 Vol squads still alive, Stumpai squad alive. A lot of veterancy there, as well as having the 2 MGs and the Raketenwerfer.
Yeah, and when these Volksrex get Vet 4 and 5, they just become insanely potent. And it really is because this squad has been the Shrek that's been consistently landing onto the M20. So it's been the one getting that veterancy, and they end up being able to deal with Riflemen when they're that vetted up. Captain, not that effective unless he gets up close. Nade not quite hitting, and actually doing pretty well here because of that heavy, the light cover, yeah, and the Thompson range. But the Volks are just too powerful.
Yeah, I mean, Vet 4 at this point, they're going to be able to deal with pretty much anything. Kind of a big deal. It's more survivability, is it, at Vet 4? Or,
no, Vet 4 is accuracy. Vet 5 is their received accuracy. So the Jackson's going to be a bit of a dead weight here, but there's going to be a Panther coming out soon, or maybe even a Storm Tiger.
Or even a pack. How much does the pack cost? That's...
I think it's...
Can't check.
How
much manpower? Because there's a bit of manpower flow here from Cyanara. At least there was. 500, there you go. Okay, so Cyanara's going, yeah, double. He needs 2 of them, I think.
Double opposite up. Well, hey, why not? Especially against airborne.
It's a good idea, definitely. Had enough manpower in the bank, why not go for those opposite up? Really do want them on the field ASAP. Want them vetted up as well. You may get wiped here, gotta be careful. Is that the only thing that's been lost thus far? Is that the 50 cal or the 34?
They're both MG34s.
They both are.
But nice
recap.
Yeah, nice arcs there, having the other MG34 covered. So even though it was flanked, it wasn't actually taken out. So I just think at this stage, Vindicarex is running out of options. He has to pick his engagements very, very carefully because he has such little infantry firepower. And really, I think that's partially to blame with the 3 echelon start, and also just because of the unit preservation hasn't been the best. I would like to see some more paratroopers because really there just needs to be more infantry firepower here. Even Pathfinders can be nice with their long range potency, but paratroopers are just a safer and more consistent option. Yeah,
the Jackson's just gonna have no impact, and I think Cyanara realizes this is like, you have a Jackson, why do I need to build tanks? I don't need tanks, I can build more infantry. I've also Darton will deal with anything that can come out of Vindicarex at this point. Also are going to be suppressed here though.
Honestly, I think a Sturm Tiger would be a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Because Sturm Tigers are able to one-shot the Jackson, and if you sort of bait it out of vision, this Rifle squad's actually getting very low, but at the same time, so is the Volksgrenadier squad. Gotta be careful. This may be the first wipe of the game for Cyanara.
Yeah, he's lost an MG, but... Oh, I don't think he's microing there. Oh.
Stupid bug.
Ah, well. He's gonna die. Oh, maybe he can't retreat it.
Well, at least he called it, because now we won't hold any grudge against him for not treating squad.
We believe you, Cyanara. We've seen you play. So.
But he will replace it with OberKommando, a pretty good exchange, nonetheless.
It's like getting a pawn to the end of the board in a game of chess. You're just like, oh, well, I don't get the Vol squad anymore. Instead, I get an OberKommando squad. Fantastic.
Yeah, OberKommando can move both diagonally and vertically and horizontally. Yeah. They can move everywhere.
And at the same time, they just wipe squads in all directions. They don't have to take an individual point. They're just wiping an AoE circle around. So I think it'll definitely pay off here for Cyanara, having the OberKommando on the field. I haven't seen an engagement yet, but I mean, there's just no veterancy, no real units on the field. I don't think it's really a misplay thing from Vindicarex. It's more of a you went 3 rear echelon and it didn't work.
And lost the only paratrooper squad that he had.
Yeah.
And the problem with the Thompsons is that they can't really deal with Obersoldaten because they have to get up so close, and by the time they get up close, they're gonna have to retreat because they'll lose half the squad, and they gotta be careful of the nade. So, again, I think Thompsons are only good when you want to wipe support weapons, when you want to flank the MGs, the infantry support guns, the Raketenwerfers, chase them down, decrew them, where M19s are just better overall. I mean, they even can fire on the move. M8 Howitzer carriage, though, they carry games. They are very, very potent. Maybe the saving grace here for Vindicarex, but we will have to see.
So yeah, that goes for him. Just set up there with the Raketenwerfer. Something to mention though, the VPs, they're not really much of an issue. In fact, they're going to Vindicarex. Vindicarex has 440, whereas Cyanara only has 319. But, no, wait, that blew and no, that's right, yep. I call that right, yeah, that's okay, good. Yeah, so yeah, but he's starting to cap back the points now. Cyanara is starting to cap back the map because, I mean, he's been winning all of these engagements. He does deserve to hold it. 3 VPs, or at least 2 at the moment, has control over the center one. Who those shoe mines set up. That's a good amount of shoe mines.
I thought they were S mines because there was that many of them. And that little sign there on the ground.
Yeah.
But nope, it's actually just a shoe mine field. So M8's going to be nice. I definitely think the M8 would have been better if it was built before the Jackson. Panther is on the field. Nice. Going to be able to duel with the Jackson very easily unless there's a lot of bazookas and there's only the captain, so not exactly a lot.
I think the Vultures are scouting at this point.
Ooh, especially because this is a map where the Jacksons aren't very good. Given how many shot blockers there are, as we like to banter, we refer to Kolodny as shot blocker Rodney. Because really, like, you just can't chase.
You can't shoot stuff.
Because the Panther drives behind a corner, and then when the Jackson drives around the corner as well, it's very, very vulnerable and very exposed from mines, you know, ambushing Shreks and Raketenwerfers, and there's just, you can't make use of the range advantage because there are little situations where the map is actually open enough to have enough range without being blocked by a object of some kind. So not a good map for Jacksons. That's why I prefer to go like bazookas, spam, and then have my tanks anti-infantry, like bulldozers, for example.
Fair point. Garrison does end up falling there, as does the heavy cover the Obersoldaten were planning on hiding behind. Soldaten having the best time. Nice Thompson flank, actually, from the side there. Vindicarex won't actually get the... Or shouldn't get the wipe on the MG. He didn't retreat through the...
What?
Oh, what? Changing his mind. Maybe the death of this one. He's very indecisive, the MG gunner. So this looks like a good way. Oh, maybe not. We'll try again. MG flank in the middle.
I've never actually seen a retreat path be changed like that. I've seen it sometimes when they get blocked off
by something and then it changes. Yeah, I've never seen it go boom.
Nothing was blocking. Anyway, the Panther is driving across here. M8 is trying to fire at the Panther, but it won't penetrate. Jackson needs to fire, but it can't when there's literally 3 squads of Volksgrenadiers, and with their Shreks,
the Shreks are coming.
They'll do a lot of damage, especially at the veterancy that they have here.
The
there goes the ambulance, and the Panther is driving in.
Oh, the Jackson's gone.
Oh, hit the M20 mine. Nice work, but the M8 in a bit of trouble. We'll get away from that one, though. Jackson on the flank. Nice work, Vindicare. Excellent angle, but there's just so many Shreks. It may not even matter. Panther may take it out. Nope, 3 Shreks. Every single Shrek hit, and that is the weakness of the Jacksons. He probably would have even killed it anyway. It was actually bad RNG for the Jackson, but for Cyanara because he got the main gun destroyed. Because when you have that much veterancy, you won't miss. They get ridiculous accuracy at vet 4, so like they will always hit and they'll always penetrate because Jacksons have no armor.
Yeah, it was a bit of a misplay there, moving the Jackson in that close to 3 Shrek squads. Should retreat these ones though. The airborne, unless we see a nade come out here.
There's a nade from Cyanara.
Now it's off the side. Nice dodge there from Vindicarex. Oh, well, a counter nade. We'll get the wipe on 1 squad. Can he get 2 squads?
Oh,
you bet he
man,
get 2 squads.
5 squads.
2 Shreks! 2 Shreks!
And the captain actually wipes the Panther. This game isn't over just yet, and bear in mind the Shreks are so much more powerful than the bazookas. Apparently.
What? You can pick up 2 Shreks on 1 member. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought you needed 2 members to pick up 2 Shreks. The more you know.
The same with anything.
Yeah, that squad will have 2 Shreks now, yeah.
Well, losing that many squads, and apparently it's because of bugs, but I don't really know if that, I haven't seen that bug before. But even then, I mean, just look at the
Pack
units.
43.
There's still the Obersoldaten.
There's still, yeah, even with Cyanara losing that many units, it really wasn't that many units. Compared to his unit preservation, it's not really a big deal for him. Another howitzer carriage coming out as well from Vindicarex. Is he using his captain to supervise? Or is he not? I hope he is. He's not. That's unfortunate. It speeds up the production so much.
Yeah, it's nice to do because everything just builds so slow. All of the American vehicles take quite a while. I think it's the Major Arty? Yeah, it's a Major Arty.
Not a good idea.
Rapid Barrage. That's the biggest lie ever.
Yeah.
That's the most incorrect tooltip since when Code 2 came out, and it said that URA boosted your combat effectiveness.
Effectiveness, you pop it in every engagement.
Wow!
First time I've ever seen a Major Barrage wipe something. I literally guarantee that's the first time I've seen it.
Me too. I've never seen
it
the
wipe.
Major Arty actually kill something, but bear in mind, he didn't retreat the MG.
Yeah,
like, he sat it there under the smoke, but even then, they generally don't do anything.
It's just a... I mean, we like to refer to it as a waste of munitions, or at least I do, myself. Nice howitzer movement there, getting out of range of the Pack 43. Pack 43s can move.
And they can fire through churches as well.
Yeah, they can fire through whatever it wants. Out of control. Yeah, one shots. Easy.
Why? Do you know the Pack 43 does not one-shot the M20?
I did not.
It barely survived. It won't
Really?
one-shot the M20, but it will one-shot the...
Howitzer carriage.
Yeah, I'm not
the
sure
M8.
why Vindicarex is confused. Yep, Pack 43s have always been able to fire through buildings and through hedges.
Forever.
Since the beginning of
some
time,
music
back when
suppression.
there were... Like, the dinosaurs got wiped out because a Pack 43 fired through a volcano or something and it took them out.
Wipe them.
Thus is the extinction of those
Dinosaurs.
big, scary
Beasts.
creatures.
Yes. What was I going to say? I forget now. What I was going to say is, yeah, the mate. Oh, nice. That was a shot there, actually. But yeah, having used the major barrage, you now don't have enough munitions for the rocket strike, which you actually would have soon. I think that's going to be really, really important at some point during this game. I mean, it's definitely not over yet for Vindicarex, and I think he needs some help with the next tank engagement, considering he doesn't have a Jackson anymore and he's behind on fuel. I think he really should have saved up for the rocket strafe there. I mean, wiping the MG really wasn't worth it, and you had no guarantee that you would wipe it.
Well, there are two Shreks, and Shreks are very, very powerful. I mean, a lot stronger than your bazooka. So it may be enough, but given there's only 4 units and 2 howitzer carriages, double howitzer carriage, interesting move, considering...
It's actually 3 now, yeah, because the other one went down to the back 43.
Of course it did, yeah, considering that there's no AT, maybe a Sherman. Sherman's good if you want to sort of have that multi-purpose unit, because the Sherman can't deal with a Panther, but with 2 Shreks, 2 Shreks and 2 bazookas, I think, on the captain, or 1 bazooka. That's... Oh, no, never mind, it's the wrong squad. 1 on the airborne, I think, 1 on the rear echelon, I think.
Sorry, we're looking at
the bazookas, Shreks. I think there's one on the rear echelon.
Ah, Vindicarex, don't flame.
What was he saying?
Well, he was angry because
he got hit by a nade.
he got hit by a nade, and then he didn't retreat in time, and then Cyanara had a nice flank.
Yeah, he didn't like.
I guess the bazooka shot was pretty lucky.
It wasn't just the nade. It was the nade and then not retreating for like 3 seconds.
Then there was like 3 Vol squads went on the flank.
And he went triple rear echelon. So. Questionable plays.
Questionable play. Yeah, I think that the main issue here for Vindicarex was just the triple rear echelon. It's something that can lose you the game quite quickly. Shreks will be firing here for the captain. Has he battle to 3? At least managed to hold on to that one. Finally dropping in the M1 AT gun. Will be coming in soon.
Oh no.
Oh, Raketenwerfer from nowhere. What? Is it out of control or no? That's for armor hit. Lucky. RNG out of 10.
I don't know how it didn't kill it, considering that was rear armor.
And the first shot was just regular side hit. That's weird. I don't know how that works. Was it a distance thing or like a...
Distance affects penetration.
Penetration. I didn't
Distance
think
doesn't affect damage.
Yeah, I didn't think it did.
No, it does
I was
not.
under the impression it did.
It will not. Vet 3 Stun Pioneers are pretty deadly as well. They have the concussive grenades, but he's going to lose it.
Yeah, run straight into Thompson range and the Veteran T3 on the captain. Not a good idea, even with the flanking... With the flanking Oversoldat in there. And mates, having a pretty fun time, actually.
Yeah, but you got to be careful once again of the Pack 43. Hedges are not a... Pack 43 apparently hasn't killed anything. Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Pretty sure he's killed...
He has Vet 2, I mean...
He's killed the first...
He's killed the first howitzer carriage.
Yeah.
So, not looking good at all for Vindicarex. I don't really see a way he can come back into this one. Just a little little bit too behind on infantry. Doesn't really have a way to deal with that Pack 43 because you can't get his howitzer carriages in the right spot for them without getting flanked by infantry.
And the problem is howitzer carriages don't actually have range.
Yeah.
Like, they sort of have the same range as a light mortar, which is pretty much the same range as a Pack 43. So it's really hard to use howitzer carriages against a Pack 43. Pack howitzers are generally safer because the range is sort of similar, but even then, the Pack can't insta-one-shot wipe your Pack howitzer through everything.
Another Panther coming out here from Cyanara, and he's enough munitions. I think that's zeroing Artie, isn't it? The Cyanara has.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Yeah. It just fires like 1,000,000 shells.
Oh, nice, yeah.
But it literally costs 300 munitions. So
wow,
it's a pretty big deal.
I knew it was a lot. I didn't think it was 300 munitions though. That's more than the 240, isn't it?
Yeah, 240 mils. I think 260.
Yeah. But those howitzer carriages, they're balling pretty hard.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's the zeroing Artie. How effective will it be? The M1 can't retreat. M8's going to back away from that one. There's a pretty big delay, though. Yeah, so you do have a fair bit of warning. Oh, maybe not. We'll see. Rakenberg, nice work there. In a pretty good angle here.
Oh, it's in the flank. It's forcing them to go through the artillery. That's nice. Might get unlucky with
abandoned.
Abandoned. Gets the abandoned on that. Howitzer carriage. It's a nice animation. Crew jumps out. Dies.
Yeah, it's tragic. Rakenberg probably will just finish off the abandoned one, I would say. Still, the captain is within range of the zeroing Artie. Panther is on the field. M8's not going to be very effective. Captain, yep, gets the wipe on the M8 husk, so that's a good move. Panther, when he gets that pintle mounted MG, he will have pretty good damage when he's up close, but for now he's going to have to back away. He took too many bazooka shots. Yeah,
probably have to walk away from this one. Floating on the flank, we'll be able to deal with those retreating squads there. The M1's actually right near the top though, so I was hoping for the Panther to go a little bit deeper than it actually did. Rakenberg did see that. Quite okay with it. Yeah, the Rakenberg movement here from Cyanara has been quite superb. Has lost a few more squads though, with that being said. He's actually lost a fair bit.
Yeah, like all of his Volks are gone and the Sturm Pioneers, so...
it just happened over time. It wasn't really a sudden thing. He lost a few squads early and then he just seems to have been losing the squads to really the howitzer carriages have been doing work for Vindicarex.
And those airborne are approaching their Vet 3, so they will become very, very powerful. Still would like to see another squad of M19s, but the problem with that is then you will have to get the M19s going through his munitions bank, which is currently saving for Thunderbolt. But even then, paratroopers don't exactly need the upgrades to actually be good.
It's still okay.
Their carbines are very, very powerful, which is not what you expect when you look at the rear echelon.
The Pack's gonna fire.
Oh, see that?
Let's attack round.
That's max range. I think they actually share the same range.
Yeah, I think they do. Because that's just the barrage coming out from the outside.
See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You can't.
There you go.
You can't use it, and that's your only artillery. So you have to go Pack howitzer. You have to go Pack howitzer.
I guess it just didn't know that it was the same range, but definitely is.
It's sort of like with the ISUs. The ISUs, both old patch and new patch, that they've always had the same range, 170. But the ISU, you can attack ground in front of the Pack howitzer, and then it'll like often scatter onto the Pack 43. Whereas the Pack 43 won't really scatter far back. So it's hard to use, but I wouldn't use a howitzer carriage against a Pack 43. You can kill it pretty quickly if you get infantry nearby, but the problem is when it's right next to the Panzer headquarters, you can't just use infantry. You kind of have to have some sort of I guess, Pack howitzers, or if infantry company, the Priest is awesome. If you're elite rifleman, then you can probably use the Phosphorus.
Yeah.
But
we're going to take it really, really low on health. It's a health thing for the Phosphorus.
But
so
then you can wipe it easily.
Then you can wipe it really easily. You just have to drive like even an easy 8 up to it and just one-shot it. Look, I think good game there. Well played. That's actually nice positioning from Cyanara. Just one thing with the Pack 43. Normally you have to put it further back because it's not as safe, but having the Sfera Panzer headquarters there, was my pronunciation? Pronunciation okay?
Sveta. I don't know. We should ask Imperial Dane.
We should.
He'll tell us.
We need a PMing about our pronunciation. Pack 43, it was a nice placement though, right near the church as well.
Do you remember when Pack 43s used to put it like over here?
And fire.
And because it has 100 range, it'd be like, ooh.
It was so hard to
But now you have to put them a bit more forward. But I think the Pack 43s are stronger for OberKommando West than what they are for Wehrmacht, just given the unit synergy, especially because, again, the Panzer headquarters and just the more static playstyle overall. But that'll wrap this one up. We'll move on to our next game. Thank you for watching. Catch you later.
Cheers.